Well, I think with these kind of stories, it's always best to start at the beginning. The crazy part about it is Ray Lucas and his girlfriend had just gone to the gas station right down the street. They were only gone about 15 minutes early Saturday morning. And when they get back, the house is on fire. You can see some evidence of that here, the smoke damage. And of course, now the fire marshal's investigating.
The house was engulfed in smoke. I seen my mom and my niece were standing at the door and they were frantic.
They were frantic not just because the house was on fire, but Ray Lucas says he knew his twin 18-month-old girls, Milan and Malaysia, were still inside, asleep in the basement. Every second, a matter of life and death.
I just knew I had to get my babies out. That's what went through my mind.
Ray tells us he rushed into their East Point home where he, his girlfriend Cheyenne, his niece, and mom were all staying before it was burned so badly they can no longer live here.
You really couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was I really only found my babies just due to my memory, just knowing where they were and knowing how to get to them just from having that same route.
Both sweet little girls thankfully made it out, but spent time in the ICU. Malaysia left with severe burns. She's out of the hospital and can be with her mom, Cheyenne, father, Ray, and twin sister, Milan, who suffered some smoke inhalation and second-degree burns. Ray's injuries, as you can see, very bad.
I was temporarily blind for 3 days, but they said it was a miracle that I can see. I got burns on my arms, my babies. They have burns too. But for the most part, everybody's still here.
Ray can't work right now because of all this. And he tells us besides his family losing their home, a number of their possessions are gone and the medical bills continue to mount. They've set up a GoFundMe to help.
If anybody, can, support, that'd be great.
And here's another really interesting aspect of this story, kind of amazing. Ray says that his niece actually went back inside to grab a phone and had to jump from this window you're looking at. This family dealing with a lot. Apparently, they had just dealt with some flooding the day before. Hugh LaMonica?
Henry Ray is simply amazing. The father's love and courage propelling him to save his two little girls. We're all pulling for this family tonight. Have investigators been able to determine what caused the fire?
I had a chance to go right over to the fire department and speak with Battalion Chief Walsh, and he says, of course, right now they're still investigating, as we saw with that note. So the cause has not been determined just now, but he says that the flames were concentrated in the basement. There were also some flames on the first floor, none on the top level, but a lot of smoke damage. It's close here to a total loss, so I know this family would really appreciate any help that they can.
Okay, so you just heard that story right there, and I definitely have to give a huge kudos to this father whose name is, like they said, Ray Lucas, who did the natural instinctive thing to do, and that was to go back into that house and save his little girls. And, that, like I said, that was just the natural instinct thing to do of him being a father. He probably, at that point, he didn't care if he made it out alive or not, just as long as he made an attempt to save his children. But I am glad that all three of them are alive. Granted, yes, you have those injuries, but you can always look back at those scars and say that, look at them as battle scars, battle wounds. Like you went in and faced off against a powerful force of nature, which is fire, and saved your children. And that is definitely something to be commended over. And I don't expect this story to get that much traction because there's always this dark cloud that hovers over black men when it comes to them being fathers, and them saying that, is always this stigma that black men aren't the best fathers and all types of stuff like that. Well, here is a great father. As a matter of fact, he qualifies to be Father of the Year. He went back in and he saved his children. He was a hero to his own daughters. And that's just, that's just an amazing story to hear. And yes, there is a GoFundMe that is available, and I will leave the link to their GoFundMe down in the description below. They actually have met their goal, because at the time of this audio that you heard, their goal was $40,000 and they only had raised about $1,400. I'm looking at the GoFundMe now. They have completely shattered through their goal. Their GoFundMe now sits at $119,635. So they have more than met their goal, which is perfect because now they'll be able to pay their medical bills and hopefully look for another place to live. And hopefully, have some other bills that are covered that comes with the new dwellings in which they're going to have to move into. But it's crazy how a fire can do so much damage, even a small fire, because, it leads into something else. I would not be surprised if it could have been something electrical. That's possibly what it could have been. And then also in the audio, they said the day before they were dealing with flooding. So I wonder if the flood has something to do with the fire as well. You just never know. One thing could just lead to another. But all in all, this is still a bittersweet story. It's sad because, they lost their possessions and everything like that. But the good part about it is this father saved his children. And I would rather lose a house than to lose, not only my life, but my children's life as well. And at least he went in there and, went in there to save him. He was like, look, I'm not going to let them just die in this house. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try to do something and help them save them. And if we don't make it out, then at least I tried. But I'm glad that definitely wasn't the case. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. I will leave the link to the GoFundMe in the description and you can continue to donate as well, even though they've already met their goal. But, they could always use more.